I asked a few weeks ago in a video whether I should continue to explain almost over and over the awakening path, which is the more advanced part of the process, or whether we should focus more on healing. It came back a resounding yes for healing. So that is where we're going to go. The guys that watched the video and commented, you guessed right, I'm not going to go into the bog standard stuff on healing because that's a complete waste of time. There's so much junk out there saying, oh, men need to embrace the masculine and women need to embrace the feminine. And it's like, really? Is that what everybody needs to do? Healing is a major, major thing. Most people aren't ready. What we're going to look at, the way we're going to look at this, there are two possible paths that we can go down when it comes to healing. Well, there are many, but the two ways I would go down this. One is Tantra, not what you think, and the other is yoga. Two philosophies, two schools. We've got Shaivism, we've got Shaktivism, which obviously are part of what we can call Tantra. Some people might say, no, you can't, but well, yeah. Shakti, Shiva, Kundalini, Tantra, all. So we could go down the yogic path, yoga meaning union, makes sense. The problem with yoga is it has become, and I'm not talking about your studio stretching calisthenics class, I'm talking about yoga. The problem with yoga is it has 1,000,001 levels and 1,000,001 things you have to do. Therefore, to follow the path of yoga, it will take many lifetimes. Thus, we're left with Tantra. To go down the tantric path, one has to understand what it is. And I've got this great little explanation for you of what Tantra is. I've got it written down, so I'm simply going to read it. Tantra is about weaving together all aspects of existence: body, mind, energy, senses, and spirit, to expand consciousness and achieve spiritual liberation, moksha, or enlightenment. The higher part of that is the awakening process. It is the Kundalini work. But the lower part of that is the healing work. So what we're going to do from now on in this channel is go through Tantra. Because Tantra is healing and awakening combined. That's what it is. Oh no, but Tantra is about sex. No, it's not. Tantric Buddhism. Do you see Tibetan monks doing those things that Neo-Tantra does? Yeah. That's a tiny, tiny part of Tantra. And people who confuse the Western idea of sex with Tantra are only going to get it wrong. because they're two very independent things. They're two very different ways of thinking. They basically have nothing to do with each other. One is uniting oneself or two people to help you reach higher states of consciousness using certain disciplines, using energy connections. That's what it is. And the other is, well, we know what the other is. It's been condemned to stop that happening by Western religions and made dirty and taboo, and because it's one of the most powerful things we have. And they play on the dirty side of it, the naughty side of it, the dark side of it, whatever you want to call that side of it, and fail so we don't get to the beautiful side of that. But that, even that, is a tiny, 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 tiny aspect of Tantra. Well, why don't we just go down the healing path with, Western psychoanalysis or psychotherapy or talk therapy or whatever you want to call it? At times that can be very useful. Yet to talk therapy, to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk or talk about a problem, to think and 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 think about a problem until you become numb to it, isn't healing. Here's a little story for you. Let's think about a trauma that someone's had, and this trauma has created a fear or a phobia. So let's say a person is afraid of flying. Okay? So, because they're afraid of flying and they want to take a trip, they want to go on holiday, they go to some talk therapy. So the therapist is quite clever. It's one of the good ones. So this person walks in, and the first thing the therapist says is, okay, how long do you think it's going to take you to heal yourself, or for us to heal you, or for you to get over the phobia, or whatever you want to say? Because we're not talking about curing, we're talking about healing. Two different things. How long do you think you need for your system to be able to do it? And the person responds, oh, well, 6 months. And the therapist says, okay, and this is a big problem for you, right? He said, they're like, yeah, I want to go on holiday. I want to go on holiday with my family. It's going to be a massive trip, once in a lifetime thing. So, it's quite a big thing. It's quite valuable to you to do this, because then you'll be able to go on more holidays and more trips. And so, yeah. Okay. So, how much do you think in value getting rid of this phobia will cost you? The person thinks that, oof, yeah, it's a big one. So for me, considering the price of the trip we're going on, considering everything else I'm going to be able to do, I would say, it's going to be at least 5,000. I was like, okay, great. So when's your trip? He's like, well, we're planning it for next year. Brilliant, perfect. So let's book the next 6 months of sessions, and it's going to cost you probably about 5,100. Sound good? Yep, sound good. Great, brilliant. Okay. So the person starts going to therapy. So now I ask you, when this person goes through the therapy, halfway through the therapy, are they half healed? Of course they're not. When they're 75% of the way through, have they released the trauma? No. When they've been going and discussing this problem for 6 months, either the person has become so numb and bored about the subject that flying has decreased its charge on them. So they're able to try and get on that plane and more or less and maybe take a pill and go on their journey. That's one possible outcome. And, Western therapists, that would be considered a success. But the other outcome, if it's positive, will be after the 6 months and after spending the 5,000, all of a sudden, their fear's gone, their phobia's gone. So how long did it take? 6 months? Spending that money? Or did it take this? They just had to get to that point in their program to spend that amount of time, to get to the point, to spend that amount of money, to get to the point, to get the value, and then they let go of their fear. That's how that type of therapy works. One or the other, or it just doesn't work. In no scenario did that work, did it? The actual therapy. The outcome might be positive, but what they actually did it really work? Now I can hear lots of people who go to therapy and therapists and, oh, how can you say this? This isn't, oh, no, that's not. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm not giving you any therapy here. I'm just stating an opinion. You can choose to align with it or not as you see fit. You want to grow, you don't want to grow. That's your choice. Traumas, phobias, they're caused by micro-trance states that fix things in the mind, that fix things in the body, with physical anchoring and connection. And therefore, they can be released in several ways. Without numbing yourself to them, by accepting them, by embracing them, by feeling them. By weaving together all aspects of your existence: body, mind, senses, energy, and spirit. By understanding that we can touch the body physically or energetically, that will connect if we open ourselves up to our senses, which can unlock things in the mind and release our spirit. That is a tantric process. It's a process that's been used for thousands and thousands of years. The Westerners have tried to take certain aspects of it. What do you mean? Where did Freud study? Who did Freud study with? Mesmer. He realized that was too effective, so he went and found something that was less effective. So his clients came to him for longer to pay him more money. Talk therapy. Carl Jung, shadow work, great stuff. But he basically took ideas from Chod, from Buddhism, which took ideas from further back, from Hinduism, if you go deeper into it, and a couple of other things, not just one. Have a think about what I said. The work of healing, just as a brief introduction, is about empowerment, embodiment, feeling, openness, not to the I, not to the ego. We must release the armor, the program that has built up in our entire lives. We must choose to let go of it, not accept it, understand what it is, to be able to feel once again. Let go of that programming, that bias, those beliefs. Only then can we find our true selves. And that is the path we're going to take. We might use lots of different techniques here, developed by lots of different people. I want to give you one little experiment to start with before we finish here. You could call it breath work. You could call it a pranayama if you want. Because it is working with the breath, and it is pranayama, action of the breath. Action of breath, but also that pranic energy. Now, most people, I get at this stage, most people, this is why it's an experiment. It's a control level test. Most people aren't going to be able to feel anything here. That's okay. It's just to register. Take a breath in. However you do it, whatever speed, let it out. How do you feel? Do it again. Push all of the air out till you can't let it out anymore. Come back to a comfortable position. How do you feel? One last time. Breathe in and out. That's it, however it goes. How do you feel? It might not last long. But there's something there, right? There's a split second or a couple of seconds where you just feel. I'll see you in another video.